have quite rightly recognized today the important role of veterans in our society and recognizing their service to our country. And I appreciate you helping us echo that sentiment. I want to say, first and foremost, thank you to all of you who have served and are veterans yourselves, and please extend our thanks to those members of your organizations and your companies that have served our country. We appreciate their service. That's why we wanted to hold this hearing, to make sure that we recognize the role of veterans in our community and in our economy, and in trying to do everything we can to help them get access to contracts and jobs. I also would like to expand that comment a little bit to thank members of our military families. And I want to note that we have voted in the last few days, actually, here in the House to designate this year as the Year of the Military Family. We very much recognize that military families work just as hard and serve and struggle as much as our veterans do, and we appreciate your role there. So thank you very much for that. I think this has been a very productive hearing in the sense that we have gotten to hear from you who represent businesses and veterans organizations. And I want to thank you all for being very frank and very forthcoming with specific ideas of things that we can change to hopefully move things forward. We recognize the great challenge here being that we've got funds coming for recovery. We would like those funds to create jobs. That's what they're designed to do. We obviously need to have a system in place that works. We have problems with the system as it is now where we want to fix those so that going forward we don't look back in a year or two and say, well, we wish we'd thought ahead a little bit and planned a little bit better. We want to look back and say, we're really glad that we took the time to think ahead to how to tackle these challenges and make this work better. I want to start by asking our business owners here if you could just comment about Veterans Affairs has a list of veteran-owned and service-disabled businesses. And I wanted to ask you, are you on that list, and can you give us any comments on your interaction with the VA in terms of that list? Is it helpful? What can we do to make it better? And then I'm going to ask you to comment just on, please, on training opportunities that VA programs offer for veterans in terms of approaching the procurement process. But let's start just by asking you if you wouldn't mind commenting on the list that the Veterans Affairs keeps of veterans and whether or not you're on there and if you think that works.
Yeah, I'm Mark Klett. I'm personally on the list with the Veterans Affairs and also a number of other lists within the government, and we do get a lot of spam of wonderful opportunities within the government to have to be able to filter through all of that. As small businesses, it's very difficult to try to focus in on just the right opportunity to stay within your capabilities and what you're really good at. So you have to filter through all of those things. To make one other comment about the great training programs as you're new and an entrepreneur to go out, those are very good. In my particular case, 20 years of service, 6 years doing procurement with the military, 6 years of working with large defense companies as a program manager. Before I started my business, I was pretty well trained and already up around, but starting the business, it was pretty good to go through some of these training programs, and I do refreshers and send some of our people to some of those programs. So it is good, it's helpful, but it's needed, and that's what you need to have to go to that baseline.
AREVA is also on the list, and in order to be certified as a service-disabled veteran, you really ought to be in that list for the VA and the rest of the organizations. That's my belief. After doing 22 years in the Navy, I went in ship repair for 18, and then I became an entrepreneur, if you will, and started my own business in construction. And not sure I was really that smart, but what happened was I, as well, came with a background of working with the federal government with contracting. I didn't really understand how to market. And the statement about PTAPs, they're absolutely wonderful. The actual training that the SBA provides, the free training they provide, I go to it all the time. I always pick up a little something or I'll meet somebody. And so that is something that needs to be expanded in my belief.
I've really not had any experience with the veterans. Obviously, I'm listed because Bradley University in Peoria administers the economic development. And I was receiving bid opportunities from them prior to the Fed bid ops. There was Commerce Business Daily, which was very, very difficult to use. Unfortunately, the classifications that I fit into are so limited, but the classifications are so broad that I was receiving numerous opportunities for things like helicopter parts and stuff that didn't even apply to me. The other problem was that, again, the classification of a small business included, such a range that if it was a bid for chain link fence, let's say, or for a razor ribbon, which I don't manufacture, I'd have to purchase and resell it. I was actually bidding against my manufacturer. So there was really no opportunity there for us at all. And actually, I was getting so much that I didn't apply. I asked them to quit sending them. It just didn't apply.
Hi. We are on the VA list. Generally, we receive notices from Fed Biz Ops, and also being in one of the largest military communities and that our product serves the military specifically, we frequently have the different commands coming to us asking us for our product because we do work with them to basically custom and specialize it for what their needs are. As far as the training we've received, small business has really helped us with the programs that they have. The American Legion, in conjunction with small business, has really been very helpful. And I look forward to seeing what I can find out from the VFW as well. But that would be it. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, we don't want to put you on the spot, Mr. Brown, but I do want to give you and Mr. Sharp a chance to comment on this question about the training programs, if you have anything you'd like to add about your experience from your membership.
Sure. My experience with the training programs, and thank you for the question, Chairman, is that they're very good. The problem is there isn't enough of them, and they're located in very limited geographic regions. There is only 8 across the country. I think there's only 1 on the West Coast, which is California. So our experience at the VFW is just point out there isn't enough of the centers, and there's not enough funding for SBA to expand the centers. Also, TVC was running 3 of the centers, and now that they're no longer receiving funding, those 3 centers are also in danger of going under, if you will. So we're hoping to see their funding rediverted under SBA, and we'd like to see the whole program be expanded. Thank you.
Because there's a real lack of training, that's one reason why the American Legion formed its own business task force. And with those task force members, we've started conducting our own training for veterans. Currently, the SBA has 5 centers. They're underfunded. TVC had 3 centers. They're also underfunded, and it looks like they may possibly close if we don't get funding to them right away. I understand there's over 100 women's business centers, but with only 8 centers that are all underfunded, we don't consider there being much of a training program. We just had our Washington conference last year. We did a 1-day training class. It was standing room only. And it appears that seems to be the situation across the country. There's a dire need for training, and it's not there.
Thanks. Something I hear actually from a large number of veterans constantly is that they would take advantage of programs more often if they actually were informed better about what is out there already. So we need to take a look at that as well.